Good evening. You are listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We visited a wonderful museum a couple of weeks ago that is very near and dear to my heart. The American Swedish Institute, located at 26th and Park Avenue South in the Phillips neighborhood in Minneapolis, is hosting a wonderful exhibit about the history of the Hagstrom guitar, whose roots were in Sweden. The American Swedish Institute is a vibrant arts and cultural organization that engages locally and connects globally. It's a gathering place for all people to share experiences around themes of culture, migration, the environment, and the arts, informed by enduring links to Sweden. In 1968, I had a little folk duo called Paul and Christian. My buddy Christian's real name was Chuck Christensen. His uncle belonged to the American Swedish Institute, and he invited us to play a show in November of 1968 at the Institute. It was to be Paul and Christian's first gig off the Iron Range and into the big city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We considered ourselves the answer, on the Iron Range anyway, to Simon and Garfunkel. So with matching jackets, a 12-string guitar, and a banjo, we made our way down to Minneapolis, driven by Chuck's dad, Wally Christensen, who was also our grade school principal. I was excited because Jimi Hendrix was making his Minneapolis debut that same weekend, the night after we were playing at the Minneapolis Armory. However, we could not convince Chuck's father into taking us to that. But we played our gig at the American Swedish Institute. We also had learned the Swedish national anthem and had a wonderful time. So I was delighted almost 50 years later to find myself back at ASI to check out their new exhibit about the Hagstrom guitar. The American Swedish Institute is a leading museum and cultural center of international reputation and invites all people to connect to their past and to their shared future, to understand their heritage in relation to others, and to discover their role as neighbors and global citizens. Vibrant, ongoing ties to Sweden will illuminate and inspire all these endeavors. They operate with a commitment to these following principles: stewardship, hospitality, learning, innovation, and sustainability. A couple of weeks ago, I met Laura Zetterberg, the marketing director for ASI, and the main man, the man I call the Big Swede, Bruce Karstad, who runs the operation. We had a wonderful lunch at Fika, which was recently named Best Lunch in Minnesota by the Minneapolis Star-Tribune in 2013 for its new Nordic cuisine. And we went immediately to the guitar exhibit, where we will take up from there. I'm here on Wednesday, July 8th at the American Swedish Institute, where I'm proud to say I did my very first gig in 1968 with Paul and Christian. So many, many years later, I'm here with Bruce Karstad, who's the head of ASI, and Laura
Cederberg, Communications Marketing Manager.
And they have a wonderful exhibit about the Hagstrom guitar, and we're going to just start at the beginning with the accordion. Bruce, tell us a little bit about the beginning of the Hagstrom guitar.
Hagstrom is a company and a family that comes from northern Sweden, a small community called Älvdalen. The company was founded by Albin Hagstrom, who was trying to build a music business, apparently, and began to import Italian accordions for resale in Sweden. He quickly discovered that he might be able to make more money if he would learn how to construct an accordion and sell it under the brand name Hagstrom.
No easy task.
No easy task. So they disassembled one of the Italian accordions, Castello accordion, learned that it had 4,200 pieces, and figured it out.
Wow.
You know, a little bit of stealth and skullduggery got them into a position where they began to make their own Hagstrom accordion.
And, of course, the Swede genius as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they produced over 700 1,000 accordions in the 40-year history of the company doing this, beginning in about 1932.
The great Swedish accordion scare.
Exactly. Then in the 50s, Alvin Hagstrom's son went to America, to New York, to explore opening up a market for accordions in North America, and quickly realized that it wasn't going to sell that much in America. But there was a new thing happening. Electric guitars, rock and roll. And so he came back to Sweden saying, we've got to get on this bandwagon and let's start to produce electric guitars.
And what year did you say that was, Bruce?
57 is when Hagstrom's son, Carl Eric, went to New York. So they were advised that Hagstrom was probably not the greatest brand name under which to market an electric guitar. So an advisor, an investor perhaps in the company, said, let's go with Goya. Goya guitar will sell. And so they created their first electric guitar under that brand name, adopting many of the features and using some of the same materials that they were employing in the construction of the accordions. Glittery surfaces, buttons for modulation of tone and pitch, and they became a popular success.
Well, this Goya guitar we're looking at, it has this beautiful wood-like, it would almost look like the entire headstock and neck is mother of pearl. Silver, and then the body is a gold speck.
Like it's made out of celluloid, which is what they were making the accordion out of.
This guitar, if it was put on the market today, would still seem completely modern.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yep.
It's a wonderful piece. Is this circa 1957 or 58?
This is, they manufactured the Goyas between 1959 and 1962.
Okay.
So somewhere in there.
Well, it also,
when this one was produced.
Also kind of coincides with the space age.
Yep, exactly.
So you have a very modern twist on an instrument that had its roots in the accordion. Well, let's go around and show us what are we looking at here?
Well, one of the great things that we at the American Swedish Institute like to do when we're showing exhibitions from Sweden and the Nordic region is really complement it with a local look at Minnesota and regional artists. And so part of the experience here is we look at how the Hagstrom guitar was built and what some of the innovative features of the Hagstrom guitars at the time. How is actually a guitar built? And so we've partnered here with Charlie Hoffman, who's got a fabulous guitar repair and
He's
shop.
a lot of mine over the years.
He's a fixture of our neighborhood that we're
he's
in.
Legendary, worldwide renowned luthier.
Absolutely.
Still based in the shop on Franklin Avenue.
And that's a magical place to visit.
Yes,
If people come check out the exhibit, you can duck in over there. We're not too far. But he, in the gallery here, is walking us through how the guitars themselves are built. And so kind of breaking it down for visitors to explore how all of these pieces come together to create such a great instrument.
Well, what a nice thing for him to do. The fun thing about Hoffman guitars, if you get there on the right day, you might be lucky enough to bump into Leo Conti, my hero. So here's, now this is interesting. We're looking at a baby blue guitar with an amplifier that looks almost like a AM radio, a larger AM radio.
So this is the next iteration in the wave of guitars that came out from Hagstrom, and this is sort of a laminate body with blue colors
It looks a little bit, for those of you in the radio audience, like a little bit like a smaller version of a Fender Stratocaster.
Yeah. And these were made to be sold inexpensively. They wanted to get these guitars into young musicians' hands, so they attempted to do so in a way that there was affordable purchase for them. These were manufactured under a different name, not Hagstrom, not Goya, but Kent. The Kent guitar. And this particular model was played by David Bowie.
Wow.
In the song Rebel Rebel in 1974.
And it comes replete with a wang bar for those that are looking for the surf sounds.
With what they call a Tremolo 26 amplifier.
Wow.
It weighs less than a typewriter, according to Hagstrom.
Well, you have to really give them credit. They've really been on top of their marketing and national and international trends.
Yep.
Absolutely, and that's something, that they were not the largest produced guitar in the world. It's not Fender or Gibson, but they had a really niche following during the height of their production, and that was due to some of these great marketing pieces that we're doing, making sure you get them in the hands of David Bowie, of Elvis Presley, and getting them with the rock and roll.
Once again, brilliant marketing.
Yeah. The other thing about these guitars is that they were known as a fast-playing guitar, which apparently is an important feature for guitarists. And the reason that they were fast-playing is for a couple of reasons. One, a very thin neck, and they were able to produce a thin-necked guitar that would withstand the rigors of a guitarist playing it by inserting a steel rod embedded in the neck of the guitar, which was something that they adapted from Volvo Saab aircraft manufacturing to strengthen the wings, with a lightweight alloy, and to give it some strength. And so the thin neck and then a rod for durability and strength allowed these guitars to develop a reputation as being really fast playing.
More with Bruce and Laura at the American Swedish Institute on the Wall of Power Radio Hour after these messages.
The #1 source of the Twin Cities gay scene is All Digital. Follow Twin Cities Gay Scene on Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for the Scene Shot email blast for weekly updates and chances to win great prizes. No app is needed to view the bi-weekly web editions of Scene. It's GLBTQ media for the mobile generation. Find it all at TwinCitiesGayScene.com. That's TwinCitiesGayScene.com.
This is Dan Brooks, Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor with RBC Wealth Management. For the past 19 years, I've been managing wealth for individuals, institutions, and corporate retirement plan sponsors. Throughout my career, I have seen common traits in successful investors. They include the courage to be diversified, the willingness to work with a professional, the discipline to follow a plan, and patience. I welcome the opportunity to help contribute to your financial success. Call me at 612-371-2396.
Hi, this is Laura with Food Freedom Radio.
And I'm Karen. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m. It's all about food, Laura.
Right, the health of the planet. Carbon-based farming can solve the climate crisis.
Well, because community is medicine.
And it's not about one seed to rule them all anymore.
One seed rules the world.
Yeah, let's have something else. Let's worry about our individual health, our community health, the health of the planet, while eating food.
Yeah, because it's all tied to food.
So listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m.
on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Northeast Minneapolis is known for its creativity, and you'll know exactly why when you eat at Hazel's Northeast. Their creatively prepared comfort food will have you coming back week after week. Breakfasts like biscuits and gravy, granola pancakes, and brisket hash. For lunch, homemade soup and one of the best Reubens in town. And don't miss the daily risotto or Chef Ali's ever-changing dinner specials. Come on in. Bring the whole family. Hazel's Northeast delivers real good food. Family owned at 29th and Johnson in Minneapolis.
This is Pat with PJW Automotive in New Brighton. I've been in business long enough to know that if you want to stand out, you better be the best. That's why I've assembled a top-notch team of automotive specialists who do the job right the first time. Bringing your car or truck to PJW Automotive is an investment in the future of your vehicle. Try us once and you'll see it's worth the drive to PJW Automotive. One exit north of 694 on 35W and online at pjwauto.com.
The two gingers just can't get enough of Paul Metsa. He's smooth, yet strong, a great mixer, and very refreshing. The Two Gingers are his biggest fans. They're at practically every bar, club, and restaurant in Minnesota to see his shows. And now they've taken to following Paul around the country. Texas, New York, Nebraska. You never know where you may find the Two Gingers. Just ask the bartender for them. Two Gingers Whiskey. What could happen?
Welcome back to the second set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metzen. We are going back to our conversation with Laura and Bruce about the Hagstrom guitar exhibit at the American Swedish Institute.
By producing the Viking model guitar in the late 1960s. And this particular guitar, not this identical one, but a similar guitar, same edition, same style, same color, was handed to Elvis Presley 2 days before he went on TV in 1968.
For the comeback special.
For the comeback special. And when he was performing Jerry Reed's Guitar Man on that program, he was playing this Hagstrom.
Wow. So that's the Viking.
Yeah, and then we got a bass that was played by Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Really?
You know, in the late 1960s.
And it's interesting, Bruce, because it's an 8-string bass. And this is, a clip from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. That's very interesting. They're doing Hey Joe in 1967. The guitar is being played by bassist Noel Redding.
We have several video clips as a part of the exhibition, which shows the Hagstrom guitars being played by these fabulous performers. And we also have on loan some Hagstrom guitars to where you can go on stage and do your own strumming yourself and broadcast it on social media.
Oh, fantastic. We might have to take advantage of that for the days then. Now, these guitars, I'm looking at it's a Hagstrom solid body. It looks a little bit like a Gibson Les Paul, except it has where the cutout is on the bottom of the neck. It's rounded as opposed to more of a pointed shape. And let me see, what can you tell us about the Patch 2000?
Well, there's some synthesizer capabilities that are embedded within this particular guitar. It was promoted by Frank Zappa, who played it, but apparently it was a little bit complicated. It never really sell well, but it was well regarded by some of the professional musicians.
This is signed by one of the great American jazz guitar players, Larry Coryell.
Yeah. He favored this one as well. So
I also believe this guitar was featured in the advertisements in Guitar Player. I believe other Hagstrom guitars were, but I started subscribing to Guitar Player magazine in 1971, and I remember seeing pictures of Larry Coryell playing that. Now we go over here's some. Which way do you want to go, left or right?
Well, we can just sort of end here with there's a number of sort of Scandinavian model with Nordic names. We went from Goya to Kent. And now, Viking, and now it's Swede, Super Swede, Scandi, and Viking.
Right.
Are the brands under which these are sold. The Hagstrom guitars faced a lot of competition in the mid-'70s, and actually production ended in Sweden at about that time. Other companies have picked up the designs, the model, and are producing under the name Hagstrom.
Okay.
Right, exactly. And this particular collection of guitars are on loan to us from a museum in Sweden, in Falun, Sweden, the Dalarnas County Museum. They've assembled a really fine collection of guitars that they hope to create into a permanent exhibition on this phenomenon. They're also selling a sort of commemorative model, which we have right here, with sort of a Nordic design floral motif on the pick guard, which represents the cultural heritage of that area.
Right.
And one can pick one of these Hagstrom Viking 100, only only 58 of them are being produced.
Wow.
This is number 11 in the series, which is being exhibited here. And so it's a very limited edition that helps the museum essentially create this.
Well, it's interesting now we've got 4 guitars over here. This, the Pat Smear signature model. Pat Smear is playing right now with the Foo Fighters. Came up through the punk rock scene. That is a beautiful guitar. It's a double cutaway. 2 humbucking pickups. It looks like humbuckers.
These are on loan to us from local company.
Eclipse Records.
Who's that?
Eclipse Records in West St. Paul.
Okay.
John Justin, fabulous shop over there. These contemporary Hagstroms are on loan to us for the exhibition, and these are the types of things, the types of guitars that you'll see people picking up and playing during our ballroom music series. That kind of goes along with the show as well.
Cool. And tell us now, Laura, when the show started, just about 10 days ago or so?
Yeah, we just opened. It runs through October, and this is part of our summer-fall theme, the way music moves me, because music is so instrumental, not for the pun, but instrumental to and core to the Swedish lifestyle. I mean, most choirs in the world, everybody sings, everybody's making music, and so in addition to Amp Up, we have a great exhibition in the Turnblad Mansion called The History of Swedish Music in 3 minutes or less, and that walks you through 300 years of Swedish musical history through classical guitar.
In 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes. Well, 10 rooms, 30 minutes. But a wonderful way to look at not just electric guitars and their contribution and Swedes' contributions in the rock and roll world, but also through classical guitars. And like I was saying earlier, how we connect contemporary Sweden and the Nordic region, we're also looking at those regional and Minnesota artists through here in the show as well. And so you'll see a great homage to pedal art and the art that is being made in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the upper Midwest, as people explore the different accessories and toys that come with us.
And we're going to look at those, but let's tell the people the address, the American Swedish Institute, and the hours that people can come and enjoy the exhibit and whatever else you have going on.
Yeah, the American Swedish Institute is located at 2600 Park Avenue South in Minneapolis. We're just 10 minutes from downtown. We're open 6 days a week, every day except Monday, and we are open late until 9 o'clock on Wednesday night.
Oh, cool. And what's your website?
ASIMN.org.
All right. Well, let's look. For those of you crazy rock and roll guitar players that love to use pedals, I'm looking at almost a dozen different kind of pedals. And are these, how are they connected with the Hagstrom company now, or are these just Swedish pedals?
They're not really connected to the Hagstrom company at all. Okay. These are local firms and designers, and we in addition to showcasing the best of Sweden and Swedish and Nordic design, we also like to have a local presence and tying into local artists and crafts, no matter what may be the subject matter of the exhibition. So this is just an example of showing Midwest designers, engineers, products that serve the guitar players.
You know, Bruce, it's funny how we're looking at the Hagstrom, how it evolved from accordions to electric guitars. And I had a friend of mine about a month ago call me and had a terrible incident. Somebody kicked down the front door of his house and stole 2 of his favorite guitars out of his living room. And I told him I had a similar experience when I moved into Northeast Minneapolis in 1996. Somebody in the middle of the night kicked down the front door of my house, came into the living room, and left 3 accordions. All right, that's Bruce and Laura from the American Swedish Institute. Come and enjoy this beautiful exhibit.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going to do is turn onto Marcy Avenue and go past the first 3 lights and then take the next left.
I don't really
Then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Ken Hageland of Minnesota Hospice, inviting you to listen to our brand new show airing on AM 950 on Saturdays from noon to 1. The Minnesota Hospice Show looks forward to discussing how we honor life and to exploring the physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional issues we experience throughout all stages of life. Learn how hospice is the new face of hope and how it's your benefit, your choice. Join us Saturdays at noon and check us out online at minnesotahospice.com.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. One of the best parts of owning a new Toyota from Rudy Luther Toyota is the service that comes with the vehicle. With my service package, I don't pay for anything. Oil changes, routine maintenance, and front-to-back coverage, it's an amazing stress reliever to have the cost of maintaining my vehicle included in the original cost. And Rudy Luther's top-notch staff takes care of everything, making my life even better. Find out more at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
The first sentence of his email said, "I'd like to stay anonymous." And the second sentence said, "I'd like to donate $1 million to the Global Good Fund. Where should I send the check?"
I'm Tony Lloyd, and I'm the host of the brand new show, Social Entrepreneur. If you love stories that engage, inform, and inspire, you don't want to miss it. Join us every Monday from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
With all the convenient big box stores that sell appliances, why do so many Minnesotans choose Warner Stellian? Check online to learn that Warner Stellian is a Minnesota family-owned business for over 60 years. Warner Stellian sells more brands than anyone else, and our passionate specialists are committed to impressing you so much that you'll refer us to everyone you know. That's our mission here at Warner Stellian. Ask around, check us out online, and when it's your time to buy appliances, join over 300,000 Minnesota homeowners and choose the specialists, Warner Stellian.
The two gingers just can't get enough of Paul Metza. He's smooth, yet strong, a great mixer and very refreshing. The two gingers are his biggest fans. They're at practically every bar, club, and restaurant in Minnesota to see his shows. And now they've taken to following Paul around the country. Texas, New York, Nebraska. You never know where you may find the two gingers. Just ask the bartender for them. Two Gingers Whiskey. What could happen?
With your AM 950 weather, this is Eric Nelson. Tonight has a 50% chance of snow with a low around 28. Sunday, a chance of snow and rain before 1 p.m. with a high around 38. Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 21. Monday, sunny with a high near 37 and a low around 19. AM 950 Radio is brought to you by Most Tax Service. Most Tax Service has been working for you, not the IRS, since 1971. Located in Highland Park in St. Paul, they are one of the largest sites that electronically file taxes in the country. Check them out at mohstax.com.
Hi, you are back with the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We're talking about the Great Hagstrom Guitar exhibit that is taking place through October 25th at the American Swedish Institute. My good friend, Kelly Hotchkiss, was able to track down one of the first Hagstrom guitar endorsees in America, jazz guitarist Larry Coryell. Larry is one of the greatest jazz guitar players in America as we speak, and also in the mid to late 60s was one of the pioneers fusing jazz with rock. He's recorded over 70 records. He's in the middle of a dozen projects as we speak. He just got done helping his wife record her new CD. He's going to tell us about some other projects he has coming up on the docket. By phone from the sunny state of Florida, jazz guitarist Mr. Larry Coryell.
I had to prepare for a big guitar-a-thon at a club called Jazz Blues Alley in Washington, D.C., where I'm going tomorrow.
Wow, that's a very famous blues club. I believe Charlie Bird used to work there quite a bit as well.
That's correct. Charlie Bird is one of the forces that promoted jazz and the guitar in the last century. Charlie Bird was and is very important.
I had the pleasure of seeing him several times at a great jazz club in South Minneapolis called the Artist Quarter, where I also saw people I'm sure you've admired and probably played with: Joe Pass, Tal Farlow, Herb Ellis, among others.
Wow, the Artist's Quarter.
Yes, and it was, you could sit up. It had maybe 70 to 80 seats in the listing room and then a horseshoe bar as you walked in. but you could literally sit 5 feet away from any of those great artists and, in my case, cop the licks that I could understand.
Wow.
So, in fact, I just saw I purchased a video documentary on Tal Farlow, and there is several minutes playing with a man you might have met, and I'd love to ask you about Mr. Lenny Breau.
Oh, yeah. Did they play together?
Yes, it's just wonderful, and there's some outtakes which I haven't gotten to. It's phenomenal.
I would imagine it would be pretty amazing.
Lenny Breau, for the folks out there that never heard of, was one of probably the greatest fingerstyle jazz guitarists, I think, in my lifetime. Played a 7-string guitar sometimes. It was also kind of a master of harmonics. Did you ever get a chance to play with Lenny over the years, Larry?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah, I did. Well, I don't remember exactly what it was like playing with him, but I remember that after hours, he gave me some lessons.
Really?
He showed me how to play those harmonics.
Oh, my God. He
showed me that artificial harmonic technique.
Right. That was just incredible stuff. Just chimey, almost sounds like a Boisendorfer piano if you amplified it correctly.
Yeah, he also showed me how to play giant steps.
The John Coltrane tune. Wow.
There was a little secret that he shared with me.
We won't ask you to share the secret, but that is probably, would you consider it, Larry Coryell, to be one of the most complex tunes to try to play?
It is quite complex, and also another Coltrane composition called Countdown is very complex.
Okay. Now, Larry, you were born in Texas, but kind of came of age in Seattle, Washington, correct?
That's right.
When did you start playing guitar?
I really can't recall exactly how old I was, maybe 15 or 16.
Okay. What were your first influences?
Chet Atkins.
Oh, love Chet Atkins. Well, I believe Chet was the man that really convinced Lenny Breau to move from Canada and possibly might have gotten him one of his first record deals.
That's true.
Yeah. Chet, of course, was a guitarist. Now, Larry, you really were at the forefront with a handful of other musicians. Can we call it jazz rock fusion, or one really jazz met rock and roll in the mid-'60s?
Anything you want to call it is fine.
Okay. But you were really at the forefront of that and playing with a bunch of marvelous musicians. Did you have any pushback from the traditional boppers at that time? Of course, Miles Davis was entering that territory as well. But was there any pushback from the, traditional beboppers with going more electric and playing louder?
Yeah, there was some pushback, but what are you going to do? We were trying to do something different based on our love of jazz music. And that's all it was. Our motivation was to honor Charlie Kirsten and Wes Montgomery and Barney Kessel. Instead of copying them, we wanted to take it forward if we could.
Right. Now, what other guitar players did you listen to that influenced you in your early years besides Chet Atkins?
Barney Kessel.
Love Barney.
Johnny Smith.
My goodness, yeah, love Johnny.
Grant Green. A great Billy Bauer.
Wow. Got records by all those guys.
Yeah, Billy Bean.
Okay.
Loved Billy Bean. And, of course, Tal Farlow.
Yes. Well, it's amazing when you see, I think it's just called, the video is called Talman Farlow, how huge his hands were.
Yeah.
And I believe he was playing, correct me if I'm wrong, was he playing a Birdland at the time, which has even a little smaller neck than a lot of guitars?
He might have been, but I don't know. He designed a guitar that the nut was shorter or something like that. It was called a smaller scale or longer scale. He designed it in such a way that would make it easier to play.
Wow. Well, and he was also not only one of America's greatest jazz guitar players, but in the lineage of Woody Guthrie, hell of a sign painter as well, which I think is how he made his living for years in Seaport, New Jersey, when he wasn't on the road gigging. Tell us a little bit about, as long as we're talking about the Hagstrom guitar here, I remember Guitar Player magazine, which I subscribed to in 71, I think I started. You were one of the first American guitarists to endorse the Hagstrom guitar. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And how does that, tell the people out there, the young guitarists, young musicians, how do endorsements work? They give you a free guitar and you have to do a few gigs and possibly they pay to use your likeness in ads? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
But mainly you get a free guitar and it's usually the best model in the line.
Right. Now, I was doing a little research on Hagstrom, and it said Frank Zappa there for a minute or two also played a Hagstrom guitar. Do you know anything about that?
Nope.
Okay.
The only guitar I ever saw him play, I believe, was an L5.
Did you ever have a chance to hang out with Frank Zappa?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What was that like?
I thought I was in the president's. Presence of a genius.
Right. I can imagine. Well, you've been around so many great musicians. It would probably be hard to talk about them all in the course of a short conversation. But you also had one of the first jazz fusion groups called 11th House. When did you do your first record with them, Larry?
1973.
And tell us who was in that band.
Alphonse Mouzon, Mike Mantle, Danny Trifan, and Randy Brecker.
Wow. Did I hear there recently, or there's going to be a reunion of the surviving members of that group?
It was last week.
Oh, wow. How was it?
Unbelievable.
I hope it was recorded.
Not officially. I'm sure somebody has somewhere, as they always do in today's advanced technological environment.
Somebody bootlegged it.
No, it's somebody that I know.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. You know, Larry, I booked a blues club called Famous Dave's Barbecue and Blues in Minneapolis from 2001 to 2007, and I never had the chance to book your son, Morale Coryell, but I followed his career because I'm on his mailing list, and he's just developed into a powerhouse blues guitar player.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic.
You must be very proud of him.
I'm proud of both of my sons. I'm proud of his little brother, too.
And what does his little brother do?
He played in the 11th House last week.
Wow. Does he play guitar?
Yeah, he played all the keyboard parts of the guitar using lots of pedals, so it sounded like a synthesizer.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, are we ever going to...
It was incredible. I was very impressed with what he did.
Wow. How old are both of your boys?
Morale is... I suppose probably 15. He will be 46 this year. Julian's 42.
Wow. Well, are we ever going to see a guitar trio with the Coryells?
Absolutely.
Boy, would I love to see that. I know you play. I've never seen you. I'm playing a lot myself. But when you do get to Minneapolis, you play the Dakota Jazz Club.
Yeah, we're going to be at the Dakota in about a week or so.
Oh, really? Do you know the date offhand?
I do not. I just know that it's early August.
Okay, well, that's wonderful because this show is going to air on July 25th. So people out there in the Wall of Power Radio Hour land, check out Larry Coryell, master jazz guitar player, coming to play at the Dakota Jazz Club, the best jazz club in the Twin Cities, one of probably the 10 best jazz clubs in the country, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Now, are you playing with what configuration? Solo, trio, quartet?
I actually, I I hate to tell you this. Actually, I'm playing with an Indian group.
Really? Tell us a little bit about that.
We're going to be doing ragas and unfamiliar time meters, and but we're still jazz musicians, so but it's improvisation, but it's not going to be bebop improv.
Well, that sounds really fascinating. I was doing a little research on you, Larry, and I saw at some point you studied and played sitar.
Yeah, but that was a failure. I didn't really have a good teacher.
Well,
I just bought one and messed around with it, but and that was very early in my career. Now I would say to anybody who wants to play the sitar that there are many teachers now in America,
right,
who will teach you how to play that instrument properly.
Wow. And a good yoga instructor to be able to play the thing cross-legged for 8 hours at a time.
That's true. They do have to sit in a funny position.
More with Larry Coryell on the Wall of Power Radio Hour after these messages.
The #1 source of the Twin Cities gay scene is all digital. Follow Twin Cities Gay Scene on Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for the Scene Shot email blast for weekly updates and chances to win great prizes. No app is needed to view the bi-weekly web editions of Scene. It's GLBTQ media for the mobile generation. Find it all at TwinCitiesGayScene.com. That's TwinCitiesGayScene.com.
So you know you need your carpet cleaned to keep your home healthy and smelling good. But don't use just a deal-of-the-day contractor you've never heard of that leaves your home smelling like a janitor's closet. Get spring cleaned with Zero-Res and their Gotta Love It guarantee. This month, get 3-room Zero-Res clean starting at $129. Plus, this month you can still get a great deal when you get your air duct Zero-Res clean. Call 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMN.com. Zero-Res, spell it backward or forward, it spells the same.
Saturdays at 1 p.m., you have a chance at a fresh start, a new beginning. Hi, everybody. This is Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, spirituality, and even entertainment. Every day is a chance for a fresh start. Join us Saturdays at 1 p.m. for New Beginnings with Freddie Bell on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Enjoy a delicious home-cooked breakfast or lunch away from the kitchen at Milda's Cafe, now open 7 days a week. Milda's Cafe has been cooking up family favorites since 1964. Grab a coffee and sit down for a delicious Philly scramble, house-made rolls, or Denver omelet. Stop in for lunch where you'll find authentic Finnish pasties every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Open weekdays 6 to 3, weekends 8 to 2. Milda's Cafe on Glenwood Avenue, 4 blocks east of Penn.
Hi, this is Gregory Rich from Habitation Furnishing and Design, and I'd like you to tune in to a new program, Drink in the Style. Sundays at 5 p.m., Drink in the Style is going to be a 1-hour conversation about interior design and aesthetics, all while enjoying a cocktail created by a local mixologist. Drink in the Style, Sundays at 5 p.m., brought to you by Habitation Furnishing and Design.
Lost language, isolation, colonization, disease and torture, lost family, relocation, allotments, reservation.
History has taken its toll on our families. Our fathers and grandfathers, our mothers, our grandmothers, they didn't deserve to be raped and abused. I don't deserve to be raped and abused. Today I walk with pride. I'm reclaiming my body, my heritage, and traditional customs that value all living things. I'm learning healthy boundaries, and I stand with Minnesota Indian women to end sexual violence. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The place where fierce independence is the norm. It's the Norm Ann Goldman Show. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The progressive voice of Minnesota.
You are back with the fourth set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We are chatting by phone with jazz guitarist Larry Coryell. One other guy I have to ask you about because he's a jazz guitar mystic, and I saw him at the Dakota 6 or 7 years ago, and he played solo. Absolutely blew my mind. Is Pat Martino.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
And he came back, I think he had a brain aneurysm or something, and had to relearn how to play guitar. And,
that's true.
And he's better than ever.
He is. It's really unbelievable. I worked opposite him earlier this year in New York.
Wow. Now, you're still traveling all over the world, and you play in a variety of configurations. Is there anything currently that you like playing the best, solo or with a quartet or with this Indian group that'll be playing at the Dakota first part of August?
I like all of it, but if we could get more gigs, I would sure like to do more work with the 11th House. Last week was incredible.
Huh. Well, we will put the word out here in the Twin Cities to get that band into town. You're one of those guys that has lifelong fans like myself. I've got a dozen records of yours in my collection. I know you put out close to, if not over 70 LPs. Is that correct, Larry Coryell?
I don't know what the count is, but I do record a lot. And I've had a long career. I'm fortunate that I've had good health and been around a long time.
And you still
let me tell you about the group I'm playing with tomorrow.
Please do.
It's myself and a rhythm section, and then Jack Wilkins is one of the three other guitarists.
I have one of his records.
Yeah, Dick Lewis.
Wow.
You know him?
Yes, I have one of his records as well, but I haven't heard of either of those guys in years.
I'm not going to believe how good these guys are playing. And Randy Johnson, who used to play with Lou Donaldson.
Wow.
We're going to take a 4-guitar group plus rhythm section into the Blues Alley.
Fantastic.
For their 50th anniversary of the club. We're going to be on The Voice of America on Friday.
I will tune into that, Larry. I have to ask you one more thing. I know you have things to do and planes to catch. First of all, thank you, Larry Coryell, for taking the time to chat with me. I look forward to seeing you in person. I will try to get down to that Dakota show in Minneapolis.
Yeah, man, I've got to see you. I've got to see you when we come to town.
Oh, absolutely. I would. I'd love to take you out for lunch. Let me ask you this. I know you live in Florida, correct?
Yeah.
Now, did you ever bump into another guy who I have one record by? He taught at Miami University, but I have a couple of guitar books by Joe, I believe it's Diorio.
Oh, I love Joe Diorio. He doesn't play. He had a stroke. He can't play 100% right now.
But he's still around?
Oh, yeah. He had a stroke, and he's slowly but surely coming back from it.
Wow. I got to drop one more name, another guy who I'm sure you love like I do, Hank Garland. Did you ever get a chance to hang with Hank Garland?
No, I was too young. I mean, I think he had a stroke, or he was in a car crash or something that was debilitating for him, and then he died.
Yes, I believe that, but left behind a long line of beautiful recordings. Did I say recordings?
He made with Gary. You said accordion, yeah. He made with Gary Burton, was like a seminal musical event in the middle 60s, early 60s. And then, as luck would have it, I ended up playing in the Gary Burton Quartet in 1967.
Wow. And where Pat Metheny got some of his first work from.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Larry...
Yes, who was the first choice for guitar?
Who was that? The man I'm talking to. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Libra.
You know, I had a guitar student about 30 years ago who was living in Nashville. He wanted to be a songwriter. He went to a Lenny Breau gig. Lenny needed a place to stay. My guitar student had 2 rooms. Lenny ended up living with him for several months. And the kid had a cassette or 2 of Lenny coming home after the gig, just playing in a cassette recorder. I wish to God I should hire a private investigator to track that kid down, because those tapes would be just priceless right now.
If you ever hear Lenny play, there's a recording, it's a bootleg, of course, did a session with the band, the bass player, the drummer that eventually ended up with Bob Dylan.
No. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Levon Helm.
You are
Levon Helm. And what's the bass player's name? Garth Hudson?
Rick Danko.
Rick Danko. And they're playing jazz. They're playing bebop. They're playing swing. There's a version of I Remember April. It's out there. If you just find the right,
connection.
What's the word? Yeah, the right connection, the right guy who's got it. You're not going to believe it. You hear I Remember April, and you think it's Tal Farlow. You think it's Tal Farlow.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, other stuff starts to happen that's not Tal Farlow.
Wow.
And that's why when you mentioned that Tal Farlow and Lenny Breau did something together, I must hear this.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I know how to get another copy. I'm going to gift you my...
Look, when I come up to Minneapolis, the band is called Bombay Jazz, by the way.
Okay, Bombay Jazz.
I'll stop counting at 15, 17, and 11 long enough to go see you, and I'll take off my Indian coat for a few hours, and I won't eat Indian food. We'll just have some nice Minnesota pike or something.
There you go, walleye pike. Larry, thank you.
And then
go ahead.
We can be just guys who love the American jazz guitar.
Oh, you're talking to one of them, and you're one of the masters of it. Larry Coryell, this has really been a pleasure. I can't wait to meet you in person. I'm going to gift you my
you, man. It's always good to meet another kindred spirit.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's... I've been listening to you for 40 years, and you've made your mark on younger guitarists like myself, and that the fact that you're stronger than ever at the age of 72 or so is a beacon of light and hope for the rest of us out there trying to do what you were doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Larry, have a wonderful day. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and thanks so much for taking time to talk with us.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Bless you, brother. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This show was produced by Paul Metza, engineered by Brad Kanaber, and recorded at the Minneapolis Media Institute. We'd like to thank our guests, Larry Coryell, Laura Setterberg, and Bruce Karstead, and remind you to go check out the great exhibit at the American Swedish Institute about the history of the Hagstrom guitar. The Institute has over 140,000 visitors a year. Make yourself one of them. They've been there since 1929 and are still rocking big time. Follow us on Facebook at Wall of Power Radio Hour, online at wallofpowerradio.com. This is your host, Paul Metza, reminding you to be kind and make someone happy.